So, the ability to take a bunch of things and put them in depth, the ability to take a bunch of things, put them in vertical or up, the ability to save a view, load a view. These are all these basic operations that I think you want to define.
Absolutely, and now the smoothness of the interaction becomes the key thing. First you have the interactions, like you say, then you have to have the real data, and this is your own real document. And then you've got to be able to do it without thinking about it.
Nice.
The title of my article for ACM is From Wow to Work.
Yeah.
Are we getting closer to work?
I think we are. I think there's I wonder, there's something about all the discussions I had with you where you had a little throwaway comment you made earlier on, which is you said, I spent a lot of effort making the typography beautiful, and this is a beautiful workspace, right? And for some people, that really matters. It really matters that they're in a space that puts them in a kind of cognitive mode or puts them in a thinking space which works. For me, I appreciate that, but so what I'm missing is the ability to arbitrarily extend the space. So here we've got, so this mentions Don Norman, for example. He's up there. So if I have a look at Don. So what I want to say to it, tell me more about things that make us smart, right? Tell me more about Don Normal. What else did he write? And I want to have those interactions, and I want those to appear in this space.
Oh, absolutely. That is important.
Yeah. But I understand that we're operating within a kind of a grounded reality here within a particular text.
Oh, but there's nothing, I'm very happy with that kind of extension.
But also it would then make sense to say, so a lot of the corporate systems that use AI, so we were talking about Copilot, and Copilot does this a lot, right? So it makes a clear distinction between what is the source, what is the information the AI is giving, what is it grounded on, right? Is it grounded on, arbitrary stuff? Can it go off and search the web? Is it grounded on your work documents that are inside your OneDrive?
Right.
Is it grounded on a particular document or set of documents, which is Notebook LM basically? And kind of here, you're grounding on an individual document.
In the beginning, yes. I mean, we do have AI.
But it feels like I said, the ability to bring in different documents and then showing which of these concepts were grounded on which document, being able to extend it off into other things, that feels like it begins to become more of an ideas space.
That's actually a political problem more than anything else, because Apple won't allow it yet.
Right. So I know. So you've done this thing where you can't move things if they're not selected, and then if you select things, they move together.
There should maybe be an interaction to deselect to move a new thing.
Well, I think the interaction I think I want, and I think I want, which means I don't know I want, but I think I want is I want this behavior. So I've selected two things, and I move one of them, and they move together. That's exactly right. But then if I point at another thing, and I want to be able to move the white things, but I want them to move on their own, because sometimes they just kind of get in the way, right?
So go into settings.
Is that down?
Oh, it's on the document over where I am.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On top there.
Yep, got it.
And then scroll down.
Yeah.
And ta-da! No, you scroll past it. The top one is off. It says, no, one of them is, I can't read
Only
it.
selected nodes can move.
Yeah, turn that off.
Let's try that. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's what I want. That's good.
Maybe. In a short session like this, yes, but if you have a ton of stuff.
The reason is that very often stuff just gets in the way. So I'm like, oh, I really want to just move that out the way a little bit, or just, oh, there's some interesting stuff going on up here, and I want to kind of put that together as a group. So for that kind of spatial hypertext triage process,
Try to move the document in front of you and then go top left to open another document, please.
okay, yeah,
There should be one on VR history. Yeah, do VR history.
okay, yeah.
And then map. Okay. Yeah, the map. Okay, it'll be over here now, but fair enough.
Yeah.
So just move the document away. So this has got a lot more nodes.
So this is the same one, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's really annoying. Okay, what is here?
Ah, yeah, that's strange. I can't. Ah, yeah. Yeah, okay. So it's put them in there, but it's put them in there as.
Okay, well it's a test build, so let's just use that as an excuse, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so now go under select,
Yeah.
and then just pick a category, whatever you want.
So if I flick concept, okay.
Not concept. Concept is ill-defined at the moment.
Person.
Sure.
Product.
Okay. Do we have any? Okay, try person then. That's like my go-to.
Okay. Here we go.
And then move that, and then do
Yeah.
the layout stuff. Something
Yeah.
interesting should happen.
So if I go to this layout one over there, layout. Let's do the vertical one. Oh yeah, there they all are.
So the issue now becomes when you have things too close to each other and you want to select one, it's too easy to do another one. And
Yeah.
undo is actually very difficult in this space.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. I also feel like I want to select multiple things. So I want to be able to reach out and say, take these ones here, and it understand what I've just done.
Like a lasso.
Like those ones there, and then I want to drag them together. And I think what's very powerful about this layer is the want to organize and to move things around.
Yeah.
And at the moment that's quite difficult because although I can now move things individually, that takes a bit of time, and I can organise things. If you have a grid layer or anything like that, where I want things to be on a plane, but I want them to be together.
There is something called a plane in there, and that's because of you. I call it snap.
Right.
It takes the Z dimensions to 0.
Okay.
So it puts that back. But so now you're really feeling the way you want it to be limited. And and also I want you to have to manually do quite a lot of work because it helps your brain place.
Yeah. There's a value to friction. So.
But you should have the layout option should be really powerful for. You shouldn't have to micromanage putting things horizontally and so on.
I think the key is what you want is this concept of beneficial friction, where the system doesn't do the work that is good for you to do, but it does all the work that is just busy work basically.
Yeah.
So having selected all of these things and said, I want this group to be a group, it should just do that for me.
Oh yeah.
Whereas picking out the groups is probably something that's a bit more something I should be doing.
On the Mac version of the map, you can do groupings.
Right.
And you can also do groupings where everything selected hides behind a new node.
Yeah.
So that kind of management is exactly the exciting stuff that's happening now.
To create a kind of it's like a narrative trail, so it describes them in some kind of narrative structure and then links out to them. And then what I can do is once I've identified them and I've identified the order and why I want to talk about them, I can then get the AI to actually turn that into a document, and that becomes a map of content. And I can transform maps of content into different types of written text, like a blog post or a paper section. And this feels like a really good place to do that initial triage, where I'm identifying the different ideas and putting them into a particular order, and I'm saying, right, now write me the text, and then I want to interact with the text. So it feels like a good place to do that, because I think it would be very good at showing me a subgraph and allowing me to manipulate that subgraph.
Yeah, the hiding and showing, the grouping, connecting is really core. Could you go backwards a bit and then
Yep.
really use the depth of space to pull things even behind you? And
Yeah. So I could. So let's say put that there.
oh, but physically behind you as well.
Yeah. So literally like that.
There's nothing on the back yet. I don't know what to do with the back one yet. But
Well, I mean, whether or not they orientate towards you is an interesting question as well. What was that? Where's Sapir Wolf gone? So again, I wanna basically. Oh, there it is. I want to basically say to an AI, where's the Sapir Wolf hypothesis? And he goes, pop, and there it is, right?
we do have a find right now, but we don't have the good interactions for it yet.
Yeah. So, and then let's take arrival. That's the wrong person. Where's the? There we go. Okay. So I put a few things behind me.
So now turn around and walk so that they are actually in front of you, please.
Yep.
It's kind of wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna float around. Again, I want to
So exactly, now you started overlaying, you're using things in the real world as
Yeah.
almost anchors, right?
Yeah. As soon as I start to move around, yeah, it's interesting. There's like a kind of a, when you're stood still, it feels like a spherical projection is useful, but as soon as you start moving around, it also makes you wonder whether the flat signs is the right representation, because it encourages you to think in layers as opposed to objects.
We are definitely looking at how you can also stick things to walls or objects.
Yeah.
So if you stick something here, no matter where the rest of it, it will stick to the wall.
Yeah, sort of. I definitely want to be able to put things on the table, for example.
And that should mean something.
Yes, you know. But then that's your spatial hypertext parser.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I've pulled all these things out. Bring out all these bits. Sword of Damocles. What's that doing? Oh, okay.
Okay, hang on. Now that you've done that, please go into focus mode with your gesture. You remember?
Oh, yeah, that one. Ah. Oh, great. What's it done there?
So that chunk of things down there with many, do you want to tease them apart?
It's these things here.
Yeah. You should also be able to select that whole chunk, like you said in the beginning, where
Yeah.
all of this.
Right, I kind of. So what's that? That's super cockpit. So why is that? I can deselect with D. There we go. How do I get the? So how do I get it to show the connections again?
Select.
What's the-
See, that is the problem with being able to select, to move without selecting.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one.
I thought those were live, but they weren't. Yeah. Very nice.
Can you try to put something on my hand?
Sure. Just deselect. There you are. We have a cave.
Not funny.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. That's really interesting. What are concepts? What are the links you want to use? How you want to connect them? That is friction. It's stuff where I am having to do work to involve myself in what the AI is doing. But when you're doing knowledge work, that's absolutely critical, right? And the problem with just tell me more is it's very, very passive, right? So what you probably want to do is you probably want to ask a question. So I want to be looking at that section about, I don't know.
I want to be in the video with you.
There you go.
Yes.
So I want to find that thing about, I don't know, the entry on Freud Hegland, and it would say, you know, Freud Hegland did his PhD in the University of Southampton, and I'd go, what was Freud's PhD on?
So
And up it goes.
we have the foundation of this, and the way we have it is in interaction-wise. In Author Mac, select text, ask AI is available.
Yeah.
Because that could be for the whole page if you don't select authors. And there are pre-written prompts. There's also, you can write a new prompt right there. So what you're saying, I think, is really, really important. You should be able to speak that bit.
Yeah.
So that means this tell me more is the prompt, right?
Yeah.
So you should be able to do the last thing you said, find this person's PhD thesis and summarize it for me.
I think
that is entirely doable.
I think the other thing you have to remember is that there's about a 6-month lag on the frontier models, but they do actually embed a tremendous amount of knowledge in the model itself. So one of the things that's so incredible about these models is they compress, they take the entire internet and compress it down. So if I asked the model, even without web access, to tell me about Freud Hegland, it probably could. Right, it may be a little bit limited in what it would look at, but it would have that information built into the model itself. So, and it certainly knows enough that it understands where the edges are, when it would have to go and look stuff up, that kind of thing.
This is what I also want to be gestural, because I remember when you first went through this, you talked about liking the fact that there was an initial plane.
Yeah.
What's behind it, what's in front, does it have meaning? So if you look at the kind of the gesture, and now you are doing a second-hand thing, whatever you're gesturing, you may indicate whether you want it to go from what it knows versus go and doing research.
Yes.
Because it takes a little bit of time, so it's a choice you need to make.
But again, you could always flag that when it comes back. You could get people to say that.
No, but think how fun
go and look it up.
Think how fun this is. So you select something in a node. Oh, by the way, really briefly, part of what I've been writing about is core and contextual. When you currently, okay, I'll get back to that bit. Anyway, so you select something and you pull that out.
Yeah.
As you pull it, it knows you're doing an action, so it's waiting for you to speak. If you now say anything basically, make a chart based on this. When you let go, that's the place it should make a chart. That makes sense. That seems to be very doable. The other more philosophical McLuhan side of this thing is context and content, as in core and context, meaning that when you're working on a laptop, that's your core writing area.
Yeah.
For the human eye, it's basically an A4 sheet, 60 centimeter. That's your reading area. If you want a bigger display, the sides become context because you have to move your eyes around a bit. So the notion I'm working with here is that when you put your headset on, it's exactly the same. You still have core context, core area for writing. Everything else is context.
Yeah, it's like a sort of code in front of you, it's your core space.
The whole space becomes contextual. But the really important thing that comes out of that is it shouldn't just be your word processing document that's the core. Any node you interact with, you should be able to make it as richly interactable as a core writing space.
Yeah.
Right. So the elegance of combining that with voice will be very interesting.
Yeah. I just think there's so much to explore, and like I said, you're already doing so much in the environment you have at the moment.
I mean, one thing I could imagine trying to get the programmers to do right now is when you select a node, you do a gesture or something, and then it opens a voice channel that is for the AI rather than for the interaction system. And because if you do something like flow or focus or whatever, it shouldn't.
But this is why I think you need some kind of API or MCP connection, because what you want to do is you want to be viewing the space, but you want the AI to be able to access that space with you and have facilities to create all of these kinds of structures in the same way that you could do by using the interface. Right?
That's something that is beyond me now, and I think is important to get proper research for.
So, for example, show me all the people, put them in a list.
That can be done.
I should just say, show me all the people, now put them in a list. Right?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And the fact that I can do it through the interface is fine, but actually that's the, and then I can say, and then I should be able to do, say, these arbitrary filters. So I could say things like, pull out all the people who are based in the US.
There are very, very different things we're talking about here, which is really, really important. Selecting based on a known criteria,
Yeah.
doing a layout based on a known style,
Yeah.
should probably be gestural, because
Yep.
you're going to do it often.
Well,
But once you say based in the US, you should
Yes.
have an easy way to say that.
Yeah.
Right.
But even selecting. So if I'm faced with a complex map and I've got things all over the place, I could go, but what I want to do is I just want to say it to it. So, but to do that, what you need to do is you need to have a system where the AI can query the space and say, right, pull out show me all of the nodes that have this property.
It can do that now.
Right.
It
And
just
then-
can't
and
know
then
their relations.
And then it needs to be able to do things like, so that pull out, for example. So it should say, okay, what I want to do is I'm gonna issue the pull out command to the VR system. So the VR system, so it selects the people and it says, right, now select those.
No,
now pull out.
I suddenly got your
Slides
MCP
them.
where that fits. So you're saying that I have an interface to the system as a user. Claude also does.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know why that. Yeah.
And you could, it doesn't have to be MCP. MCP is just probably the easiest way to do it. But it's effectively a sort of structured wrapper around an API, which allows the language model to understand what the API does and then interact with it. So you give the language model the same agentic powers that the user has, and you give it some framework about what is it appropriate to do and not to do, right? So what we would find, and to a certain extent we would discover that through trial and error, right? So when I say, we build this system, brilliant, I say to the system, right, identify all the people, put them in a list, does that, and then I say, right, now select all the people based in the US and pull them out. And then what it does is it shoots them over there, right?
So the agentic
Chris.
thing is a really important addition.
But that's where your things like your kind of your cone of attention, right, and your peripheral spaces, because you need to communicate that to the AI. So the AI would then report back to you. So it might say something like, I've pulled out all the people, and it would be there in your attention space. Whereas if I said something like, right, filter out all the people who are US based, right? What it might do is it might take all those people and it might move them to my peripheral space because it has that understanding.
You would have had to tell it what you mean by filter out.
It would,
but yes.
well, no. You'd have to tell it. You'd have to tell it some operations that it could map dynamically to the phrase filter out.
Yeah, no, yeah,
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So what it means is so you could move them to the side. You could when you pull something on the list, you collapse the existing list or leave it. You do all that kind of stuff. And then of course there's the question of technically, so it's feasible to do all this stuff in a totally open system. How much of that is possible to do inside the Apple ecosystem, I don't know. So you might actually find yourself working in a different headset environment where you had more control, which would be
Unlikely.
but slightly frustrating.
They all have different what you're allowed to do. Like the WebXR, you can't see the room. Because the Apple headset, if you're using it, doesn't allow you because there's privacy and
Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
useful. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but,
Anyway. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Hello.